So it's crunch time, folks. It's crunch time. You know what that means, right? We got to get out tomorrow. We have to vote. All these thousands and thousands of people, you have to get out and vote because we have a movement going. We have something very special. No matter where you look, no matter these people behind you, you see them, the press. Look at all of them. It's like the Academy Awards. Like the Academy Awards. Hello, press. Hello, press. We love the press. We're hard on the press. I've called them so many different names. Tonight I'm going to say we love you, okay? So this is my last speech. I've made 4 of them today. We had thousands. We had, I guess, 8,000 at the first one. We have been packed every single one. And we have a movement going on that is so special. They're talking about it all over the world. Cover of Time magazine. You have to get it. Last week, cover of Time magazine, the greatest story you've ever seen. It's been incredible. 35,000 people in Alabama, 20,000 people twice in Oklahoma. We just left New Hampshire. We were packed every single venue. We had numbers that nobody else has ever had. And we're going to keep it going. But very important is tomorrow. You know, it all doesn't mean anything if we say, oh, let's stay home. Who knows what the numbers are? The polls are very nice, but who knows? We can't take a chance, right? Because we're going to make America great again, but we can't do that. We can't do that if you don't get out there tomorrow, all right? And the more we can do it and the more we can win by, the bigger the mandate, the better it is and the easier a job we're going to have, all right? So I want to thank you. I want to thank you. So this all began on June 16th. And who knew this was going to happen? I figured maybe I'd be in the pack and, you know, sort of, hey, I've won a lot over my life. I even won a lot of club championships. That's good, right? But I'm not going to be playing much golf, believe me. If I win this, I'm not going to be playing much golf. I'm not going to be playing, believe me. You know, winning club championships is hard. It takes something a little special. He understands that. Takes something a little bit different, a little bit special. By the way, a lot of people are pouring in. And you don't want me to start in a half an hour from now or an hour from now, so we're going to start. Folks, yeah, just come on back here. That's good. This is a nice room. See this room? You know what that ceiling reminds me of? The wall we're going to build. The wall. That's what it reminds me of. So we started on June 16th. I came down the escalator. I said to my wife, Melania, come on, let's go. Let's do it. And it takes guts. Running for president, I never did this stuff before. It takes guts. I didn't know this was going to happen. I thought we were going to do well. I thought it was going to be like a horse race. I'd be in the middle of the pack, and maybe by the very end, I'd inch it out. I didn't know we were going to be in this position. And the people of New Hampshire were unbelievable. I have to tell you, last week, we won every single category. We won rich, poor, fat, thin, tall, short. We won women. We won men. We won highly educated. We won smart people that don't have the big education, because that's what it is. We won every single category, and it was such an honor. They were incredible people. And you know what their biggest problem was? Every time I went around to New Hampshire, I talked to people. What's your biggest problem? Now, the vets, we're going to take care of our vets. We know that. We're going to take care of them. Common Core, we're going to end Common Core 100%. Going to end it. And we're bringing our education locally. You're going to educate your children like it's supposed to be, the old-fashioned way, no bureaucracy. You're going to educate them with love, the love of the parents. You're going to educate them locally, right? Second Amendment, they talk about the Second Amendment. We are going to protect our Second Amendment, believe me. We are going to protect it. If we had guns in Los Angeles, or frankly, where they have the toughest gun laws in the world in Paris, if they had guns on the other side with bullets going in the opposite direction, you wouldn't have had 130 people killed and many people right now destroyed. Their lives are destroyed. They're lying in the hospital. Some will die. If we had that, I'll tell you what, when you look at the 14 people killed in California, is that right? If guns were pointed in the opposite direction, you wouldn't have 14. These are two people. They were radicalized. She probably radicalized him. Nobody knows. Who cares? They were radicalized. Radical Islamic terrorism. So they were radicalized. They walk into people that gave them a wedding reception, people that gave them a baby shower, people that they knew. They killed 14, many in the hospital. If there were guns on the other side, pointed in the other direction, so the bullets are flying both ways, you wouldn't have had that kind of carnage. So we're going to protect our Second Amendment. But we're protecting our Second Amendment. But I will say this, and by the way, big story. You know, I said at my last speech, I said, Apple computer, Apple. Boycott Apple. We want the secrets. They don't want to open up the phones. Give me a break. Why wouldn't they want to do it? Why wouldn't they want to do it? They don't want to open up the phone. It's owned by the government. The phone is owned by government. What are they doing? Open up the phones. We have to be smart. We have to look and see what's going on. Let Apple open up the phones so that we find out where these threats are coming from. And I said, boycott Apple until they do it. Boycott them. Who cares? We have to be smart. We have to be vigilant. You know, there's so many enemies out there. We have to be so smart, so vigilant. Now, I will say this. So the New Hampshire experience to me was an amazing experience. But what was their big problem? So I'd go in. Their big problem, heroin, drugs. You look at New Hampshire, the most beautiful area, the most beautiful place. The greatest people, these people are great. Every place they're great. You're great. They're great. No matter where we go, the people of this country are unbelievable people. The potential of the people in our country, unbelievable. Now, with New Hampshire, remember this. They said to me, Mr. Trump, it's heroin. The drugs are pouring in. You would never think it. You can't even associate it. We're going to close up that border. We're going to build a wall. And I owe them. No matter when I went, they talk about Common Core, they talk about everything, but what they really talk about is the tremendous drug explosion. And it just seems so strange because you look at it, it's so beautiful with the trees and the beautiful roadways and everything. And every meeting I went to, they talked about heroin. And it's pouring in from the southern border. And I said to him, you know what? I'm going to close up that border. I'm going to close up that border. And we're going to have a wall. It's going to be a real wall. It's going to be a great wall. It's going to be a beautiful wall because someday they're going to name it after Trump. I have to make sure it's beautiful. Right? And I owe it to them. And then there's so many people addicted. They're addicted to heroin. They're addicted to drugs. We're going to work on that so that they can get ideally unaddicted. We got to get them off it, but we've got to seal it up. We've got to stop it. And I made the promise to them. And that's a promise to the country. Some places don't have it as bad as that, but it's a promise to the country. So we're going to close up that wall. We're going to close up that border. We're going to let our Border Patrol people, they're phenomenal people. I was in Laredo, Texas. These are phenomenal people. We're going to work with them, let them do their job. Who said that? We're going to let them do their job. They called me. I didn't call them. They said, Mr. Trump, please come. We want to do our job. These are incredible people. They're told to stand back. Let people walk right in front of them. Stand back. Beautiful people. They've got the guns. They've got the weapons. They've got the whole thing. They can do whatever they have to do. They want to do it. And they're told to stand back. People walk in. People drive through the border, loaded up with drugs. We get the drugs. They get the cash. They drive back. We're going to run our country properly. We're going to run our country properly. Obamacare is a disaster. Obamacare is a disaster. Obamacare is going to be repealed and replaced. A big part of the problem we have, the people I'm running against and others, politicians in other words, they get funds, so much money. Jeb Bush gets $150 million. Gone. It's wasted. You could take it, and there's a window in here someplace. Throw it out that window right there, and it's going to do the same amount of good as what that money did. Other than these guys that work for him took commissions and made a fortune. This campaign stuff is unbelievable. They took money and spent it so fast because the guys that are spending that money are getting 10%, 15%, and maybe even 20%. So they're spending. I'm saying, why are they doing so many commercials on me? You know why? Because they get paid commissions to do commercials on me. Not even Jeb. Poor Jeb he probably doesn't even know this happens, okay? Guy doesn't have a clue. This guy doesn't have a clue. But they spend the money so fast because the guys that are in charge, the people that buy the ad, the managers, all these guys are making a fortune. They had one case, it was in the Los Angeles Times, where a certain candidate raised $6 million. Very impressive, right? After the commissions and after all of the money went by, out of the $6 million, how much was left? $140,000. $140,000, okay? $6 million they raised, $140,000 was left. This is a crooked business, folks. This is a crooked business. So here's the story. I'm self-funding my campaign. Good? All right? Self-funded. I'm putting my own money in. And I guess by the end of this month, I'm going to have like $25 million in this thing. I'll tell you what. I spent in New Hampshire $3 million. Jeb Bush spent $47 million. I ended up in first place with a landslide. Jeb Bush was toward the bottom of the pack. Isn't this the way we're supposed to be running our country? Right? 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 You know, in the school stuff. So out of the top 30 in the world, meaning 30 countries, we're number one in cost per pupil by far, right? Number one. So high that number two doesn't even exist. You have Norway, Denmark, Sweden, China. These are the best countries in terms of education, right? These are ranked the top 4 or 5. Great countries, great education. They spend a fraction of what we do. We're number 30 out of 30. So we're number 30, and yet we're number one in money spent by far. I'm telling you, the difference in between 1 and 2 is number 2 is so far away you can't even see it. We got to change, all right? We got to change. We got to do like my campaign. I spent the least and I have the best result. We got to do that. No. Just got to do it. We got to do it. We got to do it. So you look at it, and it's so much. I mean, it's so much. There's so many things we can do. Here's another thing. Recently, a doctor comes up to me. Good guy, smart guy. Although he's going to leave the profession, he said he has more under Obamacare. He has more nurses. Think of it. In terms of nurses, more nurses than he ever had because he got bigger. But now he's got more accountants than he has nurses. He said, this never happened to me before. It's so complicated. It's so bad. You know it's going to die of its own volition. It's going to die in 17, unless the Republicans bail him out. They're constantly bailing Obama out. All right? It's going to die. But this guy comes up, good guy, good doctor, highly respected. He said, you know, Donald, the drug industry